Welcome to the Vera Thomas Show, where testimony, reality and truth meet you at the front door. Perspective to propose. Politics, religion, we talk about the real world we live in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it on the Vera Thomas Show. From purpose, uplift, encourage, inspire, motivate, and let's talk about it on the Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show.
Well, oh my God. Problems here. Can you hear me, Sheila?
I can hear you, Vera.
Okay, but we can't see.
Oh, I can see you, but we're very small.
Okay, well, the thing is, I'm having some difficulties here. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I'm seeing the screen. We're very, very small off to the left.
And right, and I am trying
channel history playlists. Yeah, so that's not, you don't usually have
okay, let's see. I'm having issues with my computer here.
Okay, take a deep breath.
If it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah, there, now you're full screen.
Okay, and I can't see us at all.
I can see you full screen.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Not on, I mean, I think you can hear me, correct?
I can hear you, but I don't see us at all. Hold on a minute.
It says that everyone can see and hear us.
Okay, well, let's get started. I can't see, but I can. Let me start. Well, I am just so happy. There's something happened with the video, so I guess I won't be playing it.
Is there a way for you to move me into this screen with you so that we're next to each other like we were?
That's what I'm trying to do. Oh my goodness, this is embarrassing. All of the widgets that allow me to have us together are not showing.
Oh.
Okay.
There, you did it.
Okay. I think I'm going to leave everything alone.
I had faith in you. I had faith in you that you would do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, let me start by sharing a little bit about Sheila Elaine, also known as the Grateful Goddess, is a speaker and coach. She helps women who have spent their lives taking care of everyone and everything overcome burnout and self-sacrifice so they can reclaim their energy and live more aligned, fulfilling lives. With 20 years in the corporate world, followed by nearly 20 years as an entrepreneur, Sheila has guided thousands to create a life they love. And with that, I am going to give you the floor and give you opportunity to share with our audience more about Sheila Elaine.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, you said it. I am really on a mission to help women release the outdated roles that were never designed for us. They were designed for others. And so when we can release those rules, and then and we don't have that pressure to prove but to understand our innate wisdom, our innate value as humans, then we can step into our full power. And so it really, doing that helps us transform that burnout into clarity, purpose, and fulfillment. So that's what I like to do. And I do it via speaking and coaching. And it really is the life that fills me up. You want me to keep going? Okay. Like you mentioned, I had spent 20 years in ad agencies doing, more corporate kinds of work, being an account manager in ad agencies. And I actually loved it for 15 years. But it was that last 20 years where all of a sudden, that last 5 years where I realized this is not serving me. I am meant for something more, meant for something different. Helping people with their advertising just wasn't the fulfilling thing that it was at one point in time when I first started. And so the universe just helped exit me by laying me off, so that then all of a sudden it was like, oh, there is more and where I should be going and what I should be doing. And I feel like those upsets in life, like being laid off, was the greatest gift. And I knew it at the time. I knew that this was being done for me, not to me, because I had lost my energy, my purpose, my vision for the work I was doing. So, and yet I was a single mom with 2 teenagers, so I was not about to just quit. But once I was laid off, then it was like, oh, I have this opportunity to take a different path. And I just found my way to coaching, which as soon as I did, it was like, it happened because a friend asked me to coach her. So even before I started getting all the certifications and trainings and all of the other things, I started doing it. And I'm like, oh, this was what I was meant for. This is, then that you have arrived at what you are meant to do in the world. And speaking went right along with it. And so I had, all these years speaking at Canyon Ranch, which is a resort here in Tucson. And for 12 years, I was there every other week. And so that was like just really connecting with people that needed my help. And because it was health and wellness and all the things, it just was a perfect fit for me. And
that's awesome. And thank you so much for continuing to talk, because there's so much stuff going on right now. It's like crazy. But let me say, having been in your career and in your profession for all those years, and all of a sudden you're laid off, I am sure that you went through the stages of grief from that loss after being there for so long. And I'm sure that you went through the denial, this is not happening. And then the anger and all those other things. Did you go through that process before you finally realized that it was a blessing in disguise?
Interestingly enough, I don't feel like I definitely had the fear. I had fear of, will I be able to do this? But I will say that I went into the office, I was laid off, I drive home, and I don't remember why my son was home, but he was home from school that day. So I had just left for work and I'm already back home, and he's like, what are you doing here? And I said, I was laid off. And you could see the fear in his eyes and the worry cross over his face. And I said, isn't that fantastic news? So I had to spin it as fast as that. And I did believe it to be true. And I think this is the part about listening to your inner wisdom. I knew it was meant for me. It didn't stop me from being in fear of, will I be able to pull all of this off? Because I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know exactly what the next steps are. So there was that. But the rest of it, I don't think so. There was probably a bit of anger for how unfair certain aspects of it were.
Mm-hmm.
But then actually it only intensified the fact that it was done for me, because like they were out of my control, the things that happened that caused it, because it was what the agency did behind my back that I was unaware of, that they took on a client that was a competitor to my client without my knowing, and created something. So once the client found out, they fired us, rightfully so. but then that meant I went with it. And so then the sweet justice of it all is that before I arrived at what I'm doing today, there was a period of time where I was doing marketing consulting, because in order to bridge the gap from where you are to, you know, the work that you want, or which I didn't even know that I wanted to do in the world, it's like you still go with what your skill set is. So I went into marketing consulting, and I didn't get the client immediately, but within time, I ended up getting that entire account myself.
Oh my goodness.
So it went from, you know, like, how am I going to pay the bills, to my highest paid, being paid way more than I was paid at the agency, because I'm the one managing it all. And that was fabulous. And that only lasted for a year, and then at a year, that client left. It was 2008 when things were disastrous for the economy. And that was my best year, because they couldn't afford working with an agency, so they worked with me. And then when in after that year, they decided to go back to hiring an agency. And the thing about it was that it was, I remember asking my client, wow, I could really use some help for my future growth and understanding, you know, what is it that why was I fired basically from this account? And I said, like, you guys were happy with the creative, with the cost, with the deliverables. Oh yeah, you were way faster, you were way less expensive, and you delivered exactly what we wanted. But you know how corporate is. A lot of times it's for the visuals. They didn't want to be with a single woman agency. They wanted an entire, you know, a big agency.
Right. But yet they came back to you. Oh, you're talking the company that let you go.
When
they were the ones that said that to you.
The client that left the agency I was with.
Yes.
That client left. They came to me to work by just me. So I got them back. That's when it was my best year. And then they left again because, for visuals' sake, they wanted to see.
Okay. And you know, that says a lot about what happens to us as women, you know, and how misconceived knowledge and information is one of the things that really can attempt to hold us back. However, and I'm getting ready to pull this up because this is so true, you know, space for more. And I love how you have your hands up. Space for more. It's like a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
And so talk to us about this space for more.
Yes. And I am not saying you need to be doing even more. Like, that isn't the message. The message is being more of who you truly are.
Yes.
And so what that requires is pausing long enough to discover who you are and what you're here for, right? And so I know that my upbringing, which you had mentioned earlier, how that feeds into what it is you do, the lessons we learn from it. I mean, it is, I had a good childhood, but it's not without its teachings that, you know, my parents were, my dad, Irish Catholic, and my mother married and had the Brady Bunch. So 3 and 3, you know, only from the same parents. So all 6, you know, a family of 8, you know, and we had a lot of chaos. And I would say that the lessons that we were walking away with was that being lazy was really bad. Like, this came from my dad. If he came home and we were watching the Brady Bunch, for instance, it was a problem. Like, we should be doing something. And I think for women in particular, they don't even question whether what they're doing has meaning and purpose for them. It's like, just keep busy, keep busy. And so my actual value as a human was based on how much I could do for others.
Yes.
And we derive a lot of joy from giving to others until it becomes too much and we're denying ourselves what we need for us in order to do so. And so it's shifting out of that constant busyness into a state of giving ourselves some stillness in life.
Yes. And, you know, like you said, so it's almost like an overcompensation to constantly be giving and giving and giving.
Yes.
To help others and not thinking about what's good for me,
Yes.
what's right for me.
Yeah.
So when did you come to that realization?
Well, I wish I could tell you that I came to it early, but I did not. I mean, it was, you know, I was a ridiculously busy person. And it is like, there is a certain amount of pride that you get in how much you can accomplish in a day. Like, there definitely is that. And so when you're that proud of yourself for having no personal needs yourself and being able to give and give and do and do and do, then it's like, I mean, there were times where I'm doing things that did not need to be done at all. Like, this is a total waste of time. But that pressure to be doing and proving and being worthy of people's love, all of the things. So basically, I would say it wasn't until I really got into being my own entrepreneur and starting to coach others that I was hearing all the things that were problematic. And so then it's starting my own practices of, oh, I need to find clarity. And I think of the brain like a snow globe. And when it's in constant motion, the vision, you cannot see it, you know? And it's sitting in that stillness that allows the flakes to settle.
Yes.
Then your vision becomes clear.
Yes. So let me ask you, would you say, and if I'm incorrect, correct me, but would you say that a lot of that drive, there are 2 things I want to ask. A lot of that drive came from just wanting to please people?
Yes.
So you were a people pleaser.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other thing is, as a result of that constant grind to please others, did it impact you either emotionally, physically, or any of that?
And mentally, all 3. Yes, yes, and yes. You know, and I think that when there's been different times in my life where I've fallen back into that pattern. Once I think that I've learned that lesson, I moved on, and then all of a sudden you're right back in it again. And when that happens, I think I can just work harder and make this work, right? I must not be doing enough efforting to make this work. And then my body would start to fail. Like it would start to show signs of, I hate to even say this out loud because, yeah. So, well, I guess I already started, so I'm going to have to.
Yeah, you started.
For me, when I get under that much stress and pressure, I lose weight. And so like where they'll go for people like me that can get dangerously low. Like it's a sign of health. So it can go in either direction. And I know some people are like, oh, poor you got thin. It's like it's an unhealthy thin. And either way, it's unhealthy. And I think it's a matter of recognizing whatever the health is very important to, oh, I better start to pay attention to what
Yes.
my soul need.
And you know what? I'm so glad we're having this conversation because people need to recognize, and I'm like you, when I'm under a lot of stress, when things are bothering me, I lose weight. And so I can so relate to that. There are some people that they eat. Yeah, they
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah.
But I lose weight. And I have stomach issues, when I'm under that kind of stress. And so it's good that we're having this conversation because I want our listening audience, even those that hear the replay, to understand that our physical conditions are often related to the stresses that we have in our lives. And when we are people pleasers, that is compounded pressure because what we're trying to do is please everybody else and not recognize that we've got to please ourselves. In order to please other people and do it effectively, we need to think about who we are, what is our purpose, what is the plan that was designed for me before I was even born. And see, with you, you recognize it and you had to get out of a situation in order for that to become your reality. Right. And so let's talk about how do we find space for more of who we are, more of what our purpose is.
Yeah. Well, like I started with, the first step is the stillness. And here's the thing, stillness does not mean that you have to sit in lotus position chanting Om. Like, that's great if that's your thing, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about different ways in which your mind settles, because we live too much in our heads. So when, like, stillness can be simply being in nature, which can be taking a walk, it can be gardening, it can be just sitting on the grass, like just noticing the beauty of it. Every time I'm overwhelmed, I get different messages from nature about how everything has a season. Like, you do not, like, there are dormant times. As humans, we want to push all the time. It's like, no, there are times in which things lay dormant, and we need to pay attention to that. So it could be nature, it could be movement, body's movement. Like, you know how some people are runners and they get that runner's high? I'm not a runner, but I know that clears their head, right? So that's a way in which other rhythmic movements might be yoga, which is more my speed, dance, which I also do, or it can be knitting. I know that when I was going through my divorce, I picked up knitting because I was so used to being constantly busy, and yet I needed to settle. And knitting just helped me stay put for a moment so that I could do that. So again, a rhythmic movement can be chopping. I find cooking very relaxing and clearing of the mind. So that's some kind of a rhythmic movement. It can be rocking chairs, very stillness, right? Okay, so we've got nature, we've got rhythmic movements. There's mindfulness techniques like
yes, breathing.
meditation, breath work, all these different things. And it's so easy to forget to breathe, and so when we're talking about weight loss as being an indicator or weight gain, anything that disrupts your health, I forgot to mention one of the biggest ones for me was sleep. Disrupted sleep is a huge sign for so many people. If you're not getting adequate sleep, that is just taking you right to burnout, because then the brain isn't thinking clearly and not being able to process and all those sorts of things. So anyway, back to the stillness. It's that, or there was the other one that I wanted to mention, which is also really helpful, is touch. Like,
Yes.
really calm
Yes.
down is
Yes.
held by somebody who you trust, and when they hold you, you can just breathe deeper and relax and let go of all the spinning.
Yes.
If you don't have that person in your life, touch, like there can be pets, are oftentimes very soothing, very like, it's just that snuggling or
yes.
cuddling with a pet can be just as effective.
Yes, and there's some other things where touch is concerned that can help still us. Even the holding, having someone hold you, having a comfort pet. But if you don't have either one of those things around you, some of the other things might be just putting your fingers together, rubbing them together like this. These are other things that can help in the stillness.
Yeah.
Focusing in on those things. And I have to say, there's a scripture that says, be still.
Yes.
And know that I am God.
Yes.
And so sometimes we're in such a hurry. Things aren't happening the way we want them to. They're not happening as fast as we want them to. People aren't doing what we want them to. Be still.
Yeah.
Just be still. And another thing, I took care of my sisters, one of which, well, they both had cancer, but my baby sister, when we were in Kentucky, she lived in Kentucky, and Kentucky is beautiful, and being able to just get in the car and drive, that was something that was soothing for me and her, and just listening to nice, quiet music. Gospel or jazz. I love jazz, listening to jazz and nice soft music and all these things that you mentioned, the movement, even if it seems slight to you, that movement can kind of help center you and get you away from thinking about the stresses that you are experiencing. You have to let it go.
Yeah. It's so funny that you mentioned the driving, because that actually used to be one of the still times in my day. And that's back before podcasts and smartphones and all that sort of thing. Driving would be a really quiet time for me. And so I remember I kept getting a message when I was driving, and the message would drop in and it would say, check your freezer. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, what a strange thought. Like, you know how you argue with your thoughts sometimes? And I thought, well, that's a weird thing. And now, had I been home, not a big deal. I would have just checked the freezer. The problem was I got this message on repeat every time I was driving somewhere else. And it wasn't until, but whenever I was driving home, like my head would start spinning with the million different things I needed to do the minute you walk in the door, right? Like, so the message was gone. And it took 2 weeks before I remembered the message when I was at home. And I went down to the basement, and there, a full-length freezer, like a stand-up full-length freezer, had been unplugged. And there was all of that food stinky and rotting.
Oh my God.
Had
And
I had some stillness in my day, I would have known and I would have saved all of that food. But no, it was all thrown and it was.
that's a great analogy, because what you just said is, had you been still, had you not been all over the place,
Yeah.
mentally concentrating on all kinds of things, then maybe that would not have happened. But having that knowledge downloaded to you, that was spirit talking to you. And see, people don't understand, when you get those downloads like that, that's spirit, and you need to listen to what it's saying. A
Yeah.
lot of times we get caught up in stuff because we don't listen to that still small voice that's trying to lead, guide, and direct.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there.
It's there. And so finding that space.
Yeah.
We've talked about knitting, sleeping, touching, dancing, yoga. And see, I'm kind of with you. I've been doing this well, I'm a senior citizen, so I've been going silver sneakers and doing chair yoga, and it's been wonderful. I've missed a week, almost 2 weeks, but that is really helpful. Any kind of movement, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So once we find the stillness, getting back to your question on how do we make space for more?
Yes.
You make sure you have stillness in your everyday. And then the second piece is paying attention to your body's wisdom. And again, we talked about that, how full the head is, how we have a million different thoughts. And so I have spent 2 decades teaching law of attraction principles, which state that what we think about, we bring about. And it's absolutely true. What we think about, we bring about, except it's not the whole story. It's so far from the complete picture, because what that is not taking into account is our body's wisdom. Because have you ever had your head just spinning out and you're trying to have the right thoughts, but you're going down deep, dark, not what you want to create in your life thoughts? And it's like, yeah, because we all have. The National Science Foundation says that we have thousands, if not tens of thousands of thoughts. It used to say 60,000 thoughts, and now it's somewhere between 6,000 and 10. It's 6,000 and 50,000. I mean, it's like, it depends on your mind, right?
Right.
But the reality is there are 80% of those thoughts are negative, and 90% are repetitive. So we do not need to have that many thoughts. We have a lot of space to reduce the quantity so that we can increase the quality of those thoughts. And what that requires is dropping into the body.
But Sheila, there are so many people that there's a study that says 60% of adults who have unresolved issues, they stem from their childhood.
Yeah.
And meaning that a lot of negativity is going on in childhood, where those tapes are in our heads, and it takes work. It takes work.
It does.
To remove that 80% of negative thoughts, and that 90% of repetitive thoughts. It takes work, and you indicated what we think about. We are what we think about all day long. We are. And that is why it is so important that when those negative tapes start coming and we're hearing those negative thoughts, to reverse them immediately into a positive one.
Yes. And what I'm saying is, it can be really hard to do if you don't include your body's wisdom in it. You mentioned putting your fingers together. Actually, I do it where I rub the fingers together
Yes.
so that you feel your fingerprints like that. Now you're bringing yourself into your body. You're noticing, like you can do a body scan, notice where is there tightness and constriction and all of that. Because basically, these negative thoughts are your nervous system being dysregulated. And that's why you kind of spin out, right? So we need to kind of go within and do some practices in order to not necessarily calm, although oftentimes it's calming the nervous system. Sometimes it doesn't need to be calm, it just needs to be reassured.
Redirected.
Yeah,
Yes.
redirected, any of those sorts of things. So, because excitement, like we are pretty excited right now.
Yes, we are.
We don't need to be calm. We need to be, but I'm feeling really regulated because this is the work I love to do, right?
Yes.
And so it's all kinds of different things. You mentioned rubbing your hands. There's all of that is so, but
And tapping.
it's not just doing it, it's feeling the
Yes.
against your skin. You're not doing it just to do it. You're like, oh, let me be super present.
Absolutely. That's the purpose for doing it. So
Yeah.
that your focus is on what you're doing. Like you said, feeling the ridges in your fingers, even the tapping, and things of that nature, and concentrating on that. And like you said, identify what's going on in your body,
Mhm.
when you're
And
breathing.
if you do the body scan and you go through your body and you go, wow, I am feeling like either a tightness in my stomach or I'm feeling a pain in my knee. It's like, then ask your body, what message do you have for me? Like, what are you trying to tell me? And it could be, I'm afraid of taking the next step, or it could be, I'm afraid that, whatever it is, it's like, oh, you have a right to feel that way.
Yes.
You're talking kindly and gently with yourself. Yeah, it would make sense based on your childhood, you would be having this thought. But let me tell you that you are an incredible, magnificent being of light, and you are here for a purpose. So, trust that you are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn to move forward, and you cannot get it wrong.
And people need to write that down and say it often to themselves to keep themselves from feeling that negative stuff. That's why, coupled with everything that you're saying right now, that the affirmations and affirming who you are and recognizing that you are light, recognizing that you are love, recognizing that you are here with purpose, recognizing those things. And if we can think on those things,
Yeah.
then all that negative stuff, if we can think on those things, and again, I'm thinking of a scripture that says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, think on those things, and also you're known as the grateful goddess.
Yes.
So being grateful,
Yeah.
regardless of situations.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say about gratitude is that it is an emotion, it's a feeling, it's a sense. We cannot guilt ourselves or others into being grateful.
No.
It does not work that way.
No, it does not.
It has to come from within.
Yes.
When we take the time to think about what is it that I am grateful for.
Yes.
Not paying attention to the lack or the limitations or the things that are not in your life at present.
Yes.
But what is in my life that's present that I am really loving and I appreciate.
And I'm telling you, each and every one of us no matter what our circumstances are, no matter what the situation is, no matter who is around us, each of us have much to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of all the trauma, drama, and disappointments that we are experiencing as a nation,
Yes.
we still have much to be grateful for. So, what we might want to consider doing, listening audience, is sitting down and write out things you are grateful for.
Yes. Yeah.
That is so important. Gratitude, being grateful.
Yeah.
You know, I
And it
am
can be the smallest little things. It's like because again, it brings you into the present when it's a small little thing. Like I will wake up in the morning and as I'm laying in bed, start a rampage of gratitude. Like, oh my gosh, this bed is so comfortable. And I love, like, I love where I live. I love my house. I love my kids. I love my, neighbors, friends, all the things. And then going about my day. And here's a thing that can be really challenging, especially for women, is spending some of that gratitude on who you are.
yes. Yes. Be grateful. And not only who you are, but who you want to be.
Yeah.
You know, who
Self
you want.
appreciation is an important part of it.
It is, and it's so important. And I'm thinking about Eleanor Roosevelt when she said, "No one can make me feel inferior without my permission."
Yeah.
And so, if we are grateful for who we are and whose we are and what we have to offer, and there may be people that may think, "Well, I don't have anything to offer." Yes, you do. You would not be on this earth if you did not have something to offer.
Correct. So true. So very true. Yeah. And so, the other piece, because, people might be hearing, oh, she wants me to do even more. She wants me to be still. She wants me to listen to my body. She wants me to be grateful. But there's the another piece to this puzzle is knowing what and when to quit. Because we have to remove and release some of the things that are not serving us in order to make space for more. Right?
Let's talk about some of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I talk about, I talk about some of the things that I've given or I've quit. Again, this is another outdated rule that we should never, ever, 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 ever quit. And probably one of the I've quit toxic jobs without having another one lined up. Like people are like, you can't do that. You can't quit before you find something else. It's like, I have to
For my health, for my health.
Absolutely.
Yes, I can relate.
I have quit toxic personal
relationships,
like which is outrageous, like a personal development course. It's like, yeah, this one wasn't speaking my language because it was more militaristic and sort of screaming at you. Like there was so much screaming involved in this one.
What?
People lost their voice. And I'm like,
personal development?
I teach this stuff and I only teach it from the standpoint of love. So, I mean, this is hard to handle. And then probably the biggest thing I got the most flack from was quitting my marriage. And if I had listened to all the people around me, I don't know that I would have done it, but I listened to
your heart,
my inner knowing, and my inner knowing said, yeah, this is what's in everyone's best interest, including your own. And you have to put yourself in the mix, right?
Let me ask you this. Was it a toxic type marriage that caused you to want to quit it?
There was, I'm not going to get into that whole story, but there was just a lot of betrayal and
okay,
it wasn't honesty and all of that. And I'm like,
say no more.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. So,
and the thing is, let me say this, because people will tell you all day long what it is you should do and ought to do. But If and this is for anyone that's listening, if you are in a relationship, be it a marriage or a relationship or even family that causes dis-ease,
Yes.
not disease, but dis-ease
Yeah.
in your being,
Yeah.
then it's not for you.
Right.
It's
Right.
not for you.
And
And
that was another relationship in which I wasn't seen. Like, as long as I didn't have anything to say, I was fine. But I was not seen, heard, or understood. And the loneliness that comes from being within a relationship in which the person doesn't know you is really hard. And
yes,
that was another really hard one to leave. But then things, so that may relate to some people and others may not relate to those. And so then I like to cover a few that relate to most women. They're the 3 Ps. And
okay.
you addressed one of them earlier. People pleasing. We need to release people pleasing and let that go, because we cannot
Please everybody.
right. Right. And so we don't owe that to anybody.
No, we don't.
Put ourselves into some sort of pretzel that does not serve the world.
And let me say something else. When you are trying to please other people, first of all, they don't even appreciate it
Right.
in most cases.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's almost like being a doormat, because you are allowing yourself to only do what needs to be done to please somebody else. And that is stressful on top of that.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So
Go ahead.
the second P is perfectionism, which so many women are also in that category, because we were raised to believe that that's what we needed to strive for. And it striving for flawlessness holds women back more than, strive than a failure ever could. Like, if we took more in aligned action of what we wanted in life, even if we fail at it, it's getting us closer to where we want to be. And if we're not so hard on ourselves for having made a mistake, we do not give ourselves much leeway when we make mistakes. And it's like, mistakes happen.
And I'm telling you, I think about Lincoln, who ran for office over 11 times and failed.
Yeah.
But he never gave up. And the thing is, when nobody is perfect. And so we all need to understand we will never reach the pinnacle of perfection. So why try? Just do your best. Whatever you do, do it your absolute best. Give it your all. And if you're not giving it your all, then maybe you don't need to be doing that, but just give it your all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Giving it your all if it's what you want, not what others are putting on your plate. Yes.
Absolutely. I feel like this is a sermon.
Well, the third P is pessimism, which we already kind of covered. And it's that whole idea that, like, we do not recognize, and I'm not saying you have to be happy 100% of the time, because that's not realistic. And that's toxic positivity, and it's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about if we spend more time complaining and blaming and in that negative vortex, we're taking up residence where we don't want to live, right? And
absolutely.
Think about, again, where we talked about, what are you grateful for, so that you're focused on what you want to expand, not the complaints that are going to expand if you focus too much on them. That's not where we want to increase the bandwidth. So
yes. And do you see the glass as half full, or do you see it as half empty? Mm-hmm. And this is really making me want to share this poem called See Your Window, See Your Life, which is exactly what we're talking about. And so I just want you to imagine a room, any room, and the windows in that room. And if you can see the windows in that room, And I'm asking the audience, can you see the windows in an imaginary room? Can you see the windows, Sheila?
Yes.
If you can see your windows, you can see your life. See the windows in any room with eyes open wide or shut tight. See the quality of your living by what you do or say. Do you see happiness or gloom in the life you live today? Are the clouds of despair the only thing you see? Do you wonder, who cares to come and rescue me? If you can see your windows, you can see your life. You can change clouds to sunshine by doing what you feel is right. See the rainbows in your life, fleeting moments in your day. See the beauty you can find in what you do or say. We are what we think about every day. We live by faith, fear, or doubt, believing life is but one way. We can think ourselves in the happiness, misery, or pain by seeing what we stand to lose or seeing what we stand to gain. If you can see your windows, you can see your life. Awareness is the key. You have the control. You can see your life bright. And that speaks to pessimism.
Yes. You had it right there, queued up and ready to go. Wow. Impressive, because we didn't talk about this beforehand. So.
No, we didn't. And I was just led to share that because of what we're talking about. And people don't understand how important our thoughts are and how important our control is, because we have control. We don't give ourselves enough credit. We have control.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, if I were to focus on stuff that happened before this show started and you kind of experienced with me, if I were to focus on that, we would not have this kind of show right now.
No. No. And that is, you just keep moving forward with the message that you have to bring to this world and sharing your gifts and knowing that it is reaching the people that need it most.
And also, I want you to understand, and this comes back to people pleasing. We don't have any control over how other people relate, react, and respond. We don't have that kind of power.
Right.
We have no control. The only power and the only control that we have is how we relate, react, and respond to whatever the situation is.
Right.
All right. I'm going to be quiet.
You don't need to be quiet. This is your show, baby.
I know. But, I feel that this show, if people take heed and understand, how to make space for yourself.
Yeah.
And we've talked about several things that you can do to make space for yourself and get out of your head. Get out of your head and don't rent space in other people's heads either.
There's one more piece to it.
Okay, I'm listening.
And that is community. Because as I mentioned in, maybe I didn't mention it. The beyond needing to do everything, it was needing to do everything by myself. Like I was the one, like I was in constant motion, always doing something, but I really kind of felt like a lone ranger. So here I was in this house with so many people, but we were all individually living our own little separate lives. And it wasn't the type that, was, well, I don't want to say we weren't supportive of each other. It's just like we were all in our own little heads doing our own little things, right? Mm-hmm. And so again, I carried on in life thinking I had to do everything myself. And I would say that part of that was the feminist movement. They were saying women could do anything, but
and we can.
Absolutely. And instead I heard I have to do everything by myself, and so it took me years to realize that asking for and receiving help makes us smart, not weak.
Yes. Yes. I
And
love
we're
that.
so much stronger together in community,
Yes.
finding the people who are uplifting and supporting. And we aren't meant to go through this life alone. We are meant to be supportive of one another. And I think that's what women do so well,
We do.
is lift each other up.
Yes. And and as quiet as it's kept, so oftentimes people think that women can't get along. That is not true. It
No,
is not true. I'm telling you, having that support of other women that are basically this of like mind. That's the key. The
yeah,
community has to be like mind and not doing the same thing, but having goals, having purpose, knowing their passion, and being willing to walk in it and be supportive of each other as we try to walk in our passions. That is so important.
yeah,
And sometimes association breeds assimilation, and we become what we are around. And
yeah.
so women that are trying to be about doing the things that God intended them to do,
Mhm.
if you are around a community that is not supportive, that's doing all the things, complaining and ridiculing and being pessimistic, run.
Yeah, yeah,
Run.
yeah. And I know for a lot of people, they'll say, but that's my family, or that's my this, or that's my that. And it's like, if that's the case, start where you are with one BFF, right? Like you can start to develop another relationship that will help bring you up, so that then you're not going to cut off ties with your family more than likely, but you can minimize the voice in your head that is telling you that you're not good enough.
But let me also say this, Sheila. There may be situations where you have to let it go. You may have to let family go. I remember, well, just yesterday on The View, the young lady, I cannot pronounce her name, but she used to be on Guiding Light and all these different soap operas, and she's on a movie star. But she just recently wrote a book about her life and herself and how she suffered from postpartum and how she was trying to keep the door open for a relationship with her mother, but because of the toxicity
Yeah,
of that relationship, she had to just let it go. And that's sad to say about your mother,
yeah,
but and I thank God I had a mother that was supportive and encouraging, and I
same.
even included her in a book that just came out. And I do want to say something about this book. It just came out. It's called Maternal Pillars. And this book
Oh,
is a compilation of 22 authors that have talked about their mothers. And not all the stories are positive and uplifting. There are some stories in here that are very heart wrenching, which led to forgiveness, which
mm,
is so important. And sometimes we have to forgive and still let go, you know. And if you are interested in this book, DM me so that I can help you get this book. Okay. It costs.
your Mother's Day balloon behind you.
Yes, my son got that Mother's Day balloon for me for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And I think I just have the one child, and he's a grown man. He's 42 years old. But, I thank God for the relationship that we have. I
Mhm.
really, really do. And let me say this too: when you're looking at relationships, consider, and you might want to find out how does this guy react, relate, and respond to his mother. If he's not respectful of his mother, rest assured he is not going to be respectful of you.
Yeah. Mm.
So we've got less than a minute. So I know the time went so fast.
It did.
I'm going to give you the floor and let you share some parting words. You got 30 seconds.
Oh, well, thank you. I just want to go ahead and invite anybody that found this message right up your alley, something that you need more of. I am available for speaking opportunities and coaching. I also wanted to give you a gift. And so you can see the link that ends in podcast. That is a Make Space for More Clarity Toolkit. So if you want to get that, you can go ahead and put in your email and it will give you, oh, did we end?
And I'm putting it, the reason that it came off screen is because I made a copy of it and I'm putting it in the comments so that people will be able to see it.
Cut me off at 1 hour and yeah. Okay, so you're still here. Good. Yes. So anyway, yes, go ahead. My website is SheilaElaine.org. You can find me there. Please reach out if you have any questions, thoughts, feedback, stories that you want to share. I am here for it. I'd love to get your feedback.
Awesome. Listen, this has been invigorating, I must say.
Yes.
And I hope you felt the same. And I just thank you for being here tonight. And if you will hold on for a minute after, and I will close us out, okay?
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, listen, thank you all for being here and for listening today. And I really hope that you take advantage of the nuggets that were shared. And understand, no one can make you feel any kind of way without your permission. And you need to make space for yourself. Make space for yourself. With that, I say good night. See you on Thursday.
Let's talk about it on the Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show.